Welcome to the 3Y TV 200 here at Homestead for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. My name is Gerald Campbell. Joining me today, doing the producing that you see here in this wonderful sky of Florida, is David Huckleberry. Joining me as well, my co-announcer, David Westergreen, otherwise known as D West. We're excited, folks. We're still in Florida. We left Daytona behind, and hopefully some of the carnage that we saw at Daytona. Qualifying is underway. We're super excited to see how these drivers get the season started off now that they're away from the super speedway package and maybe have to use that brake package a little bit here. David, how good is it to finally get the season started off at a wonderful racetrack like Homestead here?
Yeah, Homestead's one of my favorite tracks in real life, right? I mean, you've got just an incredible amount of lanes, right? You can run the wall, you can run the very bottom of the racetrack, and everywhere in between. We'll see these guys three wide, but it won't be that same three wide pack racing that we saw last week. They'll be spread out, they'll be single file, there'll be some tire wear. We'll see some green flag pit stops, fingers crossed, and hopefully get a nice long green flag run in, and we'll be able to see who's some of the championship contenders in this one. And we saw last week with Daytona, nobody can get away from each other, and ultimately a two-time or I think a cup champion took home the Daytona 500 win. So looking forward, we'll see if any of these other guys can make a run at the checkered flag tonight.
Absolutely. Qualifying is underway. 47 cars entered for today's race. We will have 4 drivers not be able to race their way into this race. But other than that, we're going to have a full field, folks. New tire model is going to be the name of the game. Kind of levels the playing field. New tire model finally for these cup cars. And we're going to see how that works out. In the normal races, as how we've seen it, the bottom lane seemed to be the dominant lane and the lane that you use to try to save the tire. We're going to see how that works out now with this new tire model. See if it absolutely, if it makes more lanes, if it allows drivers to try that high lane, and like David said here, see if we can get some 3-wide action. I'm super excited. The drivers are here as well as Homestead produces some of the best races in real life and on the sim racing. 143 laps today, 5 sets of tires. 134, yeah, I don't know what I read. 134 laps tonight with 5 sets of tires. Dave, they got plenty of tires to try out whatever they need to out here.
Yeah, let's try to. Do we have the lap of Ethan Burrell running it, because he's currently sitting on pole with about a minute left in qualifying? Let's take a lap with Ethan Burrell, see if we can get some info from him there.
Honestly, it's whoever can go the fastest, the slowest is usually the guys that come out on top here with the worn out surface. So I think the race winning move is going to be rolling the bottom, taking it easy on your stuff, and picking your battles on when you want to go to the top. But I tell you what, late race restart, 10, 20 laps to go, we're going to be fanned out all over the track, and it's going to get crazy. So strap in and hang on tight.
Yeah, that was a track description that we're going to be trying to implement for all these races here, as many as we can, to try to give us and you folks at home a better idea of what it takes to run really well. And run really well as Ethan Burrell did. Got the pole here tonight, so you got advice straight from the guy that ran the fastest lap in qualifying here. And we're about to go through the field here now with David and I. Starting on pole tonight, Ethan Burrell, able to get it done early this season, get that pole. for the night. Yeah,
Oh.
not able to race in it, but is going to be able to watch it hopefully here with us, and be able to view his race going on as these drivers are lining up. We're going to go green flag here in just a second. Real quick, Dave, who's your pick for tonight?
Is that me or Huck?
Yeah, which one? Which
David.
Dave is
All right.
that?
David Westergreen. Who's your pick for the night?
I'm gonna go with Jonathan Cutlip in the 5 car.
I'm going to go Ethan Burrell.
Pole sitter.
And I'll take Fody
Yes.
because he hasn't won anything in a while.
Yeah,
it's
right.
so long.
In like
It's
2 weeks
so
or
long.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
The drought.
Travesty. Well, the pace car is going to be off here, folks. We're ready to get going for the second race of the season where the racing gets good and the good get racing. We're green flag here at Homestead, and they're already off to a good start here as Ethan Burrell is able to clear himself for that lead. He's got right on the back bumper right there. Hogan inches away from him as the first 3 cars are able to clear themselves.
Single file through the first 3, but it's 3 wide on deep in the field right around Trey Holmes. That's where the action is tough right now because these guys are trying to take as much of that track position early on as they can get before this race singles out. So a lot of guys up top trying to make that outside line work, guys wrapping the bottom trying to save those tires early on, and it'll be a battle until they can get singled out here.
Absolutely. Full field of cars tonight. And you see it here already starting to get that high lane working. See the 0-1 there trying to get that high side going in his favor. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle of when to want to push the tires, get the track position you can now, and when do you want to go about saving it? Because as Ethan Burrell stated in his little video there, it's going to be who's better at saving here at Homestead. Tends to lead to long green flag runs. So we'll see how that all turns out for them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Almost saw 70 of Racimas run into the back of the one of Adams there. That was close.
Right in front of last year's Homestead Trey Holmes in that 88 car. Racimas is crashing off a 2. It's Wadsworth, it's Holmes. Chad Frankenfield's going to be involved in the wrecking behind. Ethan Stanley's around.
Oh, hard hit there. 33 in the 18. Make some last minute contact there on the backstretch. Oh, that was a hard hit.
Yeah, it's Leighton Norgard in the 33, Josh Personette in the 18. It's all started with that group we were just commenting on. You saw, I think Racimas is going to kick this off by getting a little bit loose in front of Trey Holmes, coming down and making contact with Justin Wadsworth.
Yeah, we were luckily on board for us to see it. Unlucky for those folks involved there. I don't think Chad Frankenfield got involved too much there, but Wadsworth is definitely going to be hurt from this one because right here is where it gets real bad.
Right there, bang. Leighton Norgard. Looks like Josh Personette's going to get out of this pretty scot-free. We might need to go on board with Harrison Talon because that was very close to impacting him in this incident as well. I think it was just those 5 or 6 cars that got collected, though. Everyone else cut to the apron. It seemed like they stayed out of it. Oh, Ethan Stanley got spun out as well. We might have to check on him this one.
Yeah, see on board here, Harrison Talon. Smoke everywhere in front of him.
Looks like it looks like Stanley saw the stopping. Ooh, Talon, almost.
He got off the brakes too soon, I think, right there.
Yeah.
He maybe should have stayed on it just a little bit longer.
Saw Stanley get spun off the nose of it. Looked like Jeff Green and all of those guys coming down pit road to get damage fixed, get maybe one of those 5 sets of tires.
You're going to see on board here, Personette. He was pretty far back. See what happened here.
Oh, yeah, there's the Personette was
Not that far back, yeah.
He slowed down good for this track, and Norgard came and hit the 6, and that's what gave him any damage that he got at all. I think that 18 car is going to be okay. That's we don't have we don't have a good save or good hands move of the race, Chad. Money making opportunity, but I'd have given it to Josh Personette right there.
Yeah, good viewing from his end and being able to slow down just in time. Ethan Burrell still out front here. Early caution to kick things off. Kind of gives these guys a real reset here. Kind of get one lap underneath their belts to figure out things and go back to a green flag. Maybe those drivers that were able to jump the start here and start trying to make the positions up now, maybe this is a big break for them because they were able to make the passes, get it reset, and slow back down, cool down the tires. But as we go through the field here, got some nice looking paint schemes. Gavin Hibbs, I don't remember him having that paint scheme there. That's really nice.
Well, as you recall, last week Gavin Hibbs did not make the Daytona 500.
That's true.
One of those
Well, even
guys
in the,
making
I
his
don't think
first
he
start
was
of
in
the
the
season.
duel. He was not in the duel in that paint scheme.
He was not. No, that is definitely a bright one. I believe. I'm not going to claim that's Seth Rawls, but team owner Seth Rawls usually paints the shifty sports car schemes. It might not be him though. We'd have to check down there in the shifty sports pit.
The only one still on pit road is a Leighton Norgard. Everyone else has gotten back off of pit road. A Leighton Norgard, obviously the one with that hard hit there at the end there. In the front end is probably having a little bit more repairs than just about anybody, but yeah, good looking field so far for the start of these races, and right now everyone's real proud of their paint schemes. A few of them still have a pretty clean one here at the beginning of the race.
Looking for guys moving their way up early in this one. Justin Vandermarle's up to the top 20. We just went past him in that number 80 car. He's up to 18th from 26th. And William White's up to 14th from 21st starting spot. So some of these guys moving up, taking advantage of that early wreck. It looks like where's first pit? I think that's going to be right around this area where Corey Abbott is, the Kachow car.
Ciao.
And I think it's going to the first new car on new tires is going to be maybe Casey Hatch at 30th. It's right around there.
I don't think anybody's really looking to put on tires unless if they really locked them up during that caution there and trying to avoid it.
True.
But I would have to think only one lap. Most people are going to try to make them last a little bit longer. But we'll see here as far as how that all works out. These drivers are ready to get going. They're lined back up, double filed to go green this time by. See if we can go a little bit farther. Halfway spot in the race is a point awarded to the leader. There will not be a stage caution nor stage points necessarily through the field, but as far as the leader goes, they do get a point for leading the halfway mark. So that is something that we will have to keep an eye up here in the booth to see who is awarded that as these drivers come back to the front stretch. Ethan Burrell is going to lead it one more time now to his outside. Garrison Hogan going to be starting outside of him. Used to be teammates.
Yeah, that outside lane did not get a good jump. Jonathan Cutlip stacking it back. Bodie's going to clear him for third. Weeks is almost going to clear Cutlip for fourth. And 5 car's going to battle back on the outside, but not a great start for that entire outside lane. That whole row shifted back by a row there. And a couple of guys almost hit the wall. Ryan Gavel did get a piece of it.
Yeah, he slowed down. Yeah, he slowed down just a little bit. We saw him earlier on running that high side. He did get a tap of that wall, but is going straight now and continued to full throttle it through these straightaways here. So he's going to be able to clear himself of that 56 and slot himself right there outside the top 10. Actually in the 10th position.
He's going after it still. He and Nick Massey very close side by side.
Oh boy, that was very close as they almost made some contact up there, battling for the second spot. We're just seeing there Garrison Hogan and Fody now battling it out up there.
Yep, and I think Fody's going to clear Hogan here coming off the board. Side-by-side battles all through the racetrack. There is not going to be a moment, I think, in this race where we don't have some kind of battle for position. You got 3 wide back there among the Mountain Man guys. Like this thing is crazy.
Yeah, this is exactly what Homestead is known for producing, these great battles here. But I have a feeling once we get going here for a few laps and it starts to spread out, we're going to see what Homestead is also known for, and that's these long green flag runs where tire is going to be a big opposition for a lot of these drivers in this race. As you see, Ethan Burrell starting to gap just a little bit of Fody, almost to a half a second lead, so trying to see if maybe he can get himself out to a comfortable spot right there. As you see right now on screen, was on screen, he disappeared. that was Hibbs riding that high side lane, still trying to see if he can get the momentum up there right in front of the 01 at Gavel.
we can keep our mental note of who's up there in that top group, right? Gavin Hibbs is running, Ryan Gable's running, Chris Wright's up there in the 9 car up behind these guys a bit. Just a mental note: who's running that top lane? Are their tires falling off after the next 10 or 15 laps? And caution has just flown. Not sure why. It's like Michael Hosak's got some damage. He's the first one I clicked on. Jeff Green's got a good bit of damage back there as well. And Green got.
I think it's somewhere around where Rucker was.
Oh, Kachow. Corey Abbott's involved. Ty McIntosh is going to be involved in this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Green hammered. Who was that Green hammered? Jordan Owens, maybe? Racimus gets damaged. Corey Abbott gets damaged. A lot of these guys were involved in that one.
Green got a ton of damage from this. Not only from that initial contact, but when he came back down the racetrack, he got involved. Whoa, looks like someone got loose there. Who is that got loose?
It was Robert Hill. I think this started well in front of. This started in front. Robert Hill gets sideways. Owens checks up for it, but he really didn't have anywhere to go. Unfortunately, this is going to be on Bobby Mountain. Oh, and he gets away scot-free, and 5 or 6 cars crash behind. It happens just that fast around here. Ty McIntosh, heavy damage in his first start of the season.
It always seems to work out like that. The guy that causes it drives away and just watches the carnage from the rear view mirror. It's Robert Hill able to save it, but that's when, just a massive pile up behind.
We have to go on board with Brent Jones here.
Yeah, Brent Jones got lucky. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't go any farther down trying to avoid it. He's lucky there's a guy on the inside to keep him from going down.
It's his 5th place in points, Brent Jones, if I do recall. This guy finished top 5 in the Daytona 500, and perfect. No notes. Good looking paint scheme too over there. The Exxon Superflow. I'm liking that.
So right now, as far as on track, it looks like Harrison Talon, 5 laps down. Justin Wadsworth, who was involved in that wreck earlier on, 4 laps down. Leighton Norgard, 1 lap down. I don't see.
There was an incident on lap 8 involving Harrison Talon, Chad Frankenfield, and Michael Goodman. We're going to want to go back and take a replay of that. It also got Leighton Norgard. It also got Justin Wadsworth, but somehow it wasn't a caution.
Yeah, I do believe they just awarded the 63 with the tally. Whoa! What in the world?
Oh,
How in the world was that not a caution?
It's Robilas was 4 wide up there. Stanley goes 4 wide underneath Robilas. That's Jeff Green, who was involved in the other incident. Running right there. I think Robilas checks up out of 4 wide. Chad's right behind him. Chad has to check up. Well, it's Chad. You know he's not going to.
He was trying to go to the outside and stay in the throttle, I think. Got loose.
Yep. And that car comes down and hooks the 21 head on in the fence. And
how this was not a caution.
Yeah, I don't know how that wasn't a caution. That would have saved, the other guys that were involved in this one.
What happened on track? Jordan Owens was
not on. I don't believe that was on track. I believe that was an issue with the race control. Jordan Owens now out of this one as well. So a number of guys out of this race early. We've seen it time and time again. Right?
I think that was a situation someone was not happy with race control.
Mm-hmm. Lose your cool, you get removed from the race. And all of a sudden, we've got a lot of attrition. We're down to about 32 undamaged race cars. I think Johnny Thomas is undamaged.
A lot is going on track, folks. Yeah, Michael Goodman got involved in that pretty hard too. Yeah, that was a hard wreck there for those group of guys there. But yeah, Jordan Owens is now out of the race due to something happening on race control as far as words being said. But unfortunate for him, he's
conduct unbecoming an elite race driver.
Unbecoming of an elite racing driver is what I'm being told. Alrighty, well, there you go. Well, we are down to already starting to lose some of the drivers out of this race here. We're going to see if they get going here. So it looks like we're going to go back green this time by. Ethan Burrell is going to lead the race here once again with Fody to his outside now.
Yep.
As, yeah, we're trying to talk and listen to what's going on racetrack here.
Let's see if some of these guys can single it out. It looks like the fight in the back is really, really, crazy, and that's what's kind of causing some of these incidents, is guys over pushing, over pursuing from the very back of the field.
Well, we heard earlier on in practice it's very hot out on the track, and we saw there with Hill and with Chad Frankenfield a little bit there. I mean, the tires are having to deal with a lot. It's a very hot racetrack, and it's very easy to lose the back end. But we're green flag here once again, folks, as we reach lap 17. Ethan Burrell able to clear himself, jump up in front of Tyler Fody. We have really not seen that outside lane at all through these restarts and the initial start have any ability to keep up with the driver on the bottom lane. There is now Tyler Fody's going to have to battle for that spot against Garrison Hogan.
He's going to clear Hogan, but yeah, that leader has such an advantage. They've narrowed it down to the restart box. You have to go in that restart box, but Ethan Burrell has a massive advantage. As Garrison Hogan just cut Tyler Fody a little bit of a break there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Tyler Fody was like, I'm coming down, and he's very lucky it's early on in the race. I don't think that would have been given at the end, but yeah, it looks like Garrison Hogan had to check up just a little bit. That allows Cutler to be able to now get himself into that third position. So now Ethan Burrell leads, Fody second, Cutler third.
Slow on the bottom. 95 car dropping to the apron.
Oh, we've got a blinking tally against him as he's now dropping to the back here, trying to get out of the way.
Keep an eye on Gavin Hibbs rolling through the field if that does get better. We're 3 wide going into 1 between Stanley Clark and Vincent Isabella.
Looks like Stanley able to clear himself, get in front of those drivers. Now back to 2 wide racing, but we're seeing the 3 wide that we wanted to. Drivers right now focusing still on that bottom lane, so we'll see if that progresses or if they're going to look to the other side. It looks like Ethan Stanley making a run here.
He qualified 35th. I'm wondering if Ethan did also get spun on that one caution and driving a little bit angry, and he also might have taken tires since he did spin out. That car might have a couple laps fresher tires on that 92, and that might be helping him out here.
Ooh, he almost got into the back end of the 43, almost turned around. Who is that? 43?
William White.
William White there. Yeah, definitely looks like the situation of new tires there, David. Looks like Stanley's still trying to figure out how to get past William
3
White.
wide.
Yeah, 3 wide there. William White not giving a lot of room to the faster tires. Now 3 wide down the front straightaway here is
Chris Wright's going to win this battle.
Yeah, Chris Wright's going to get a lucky break here past Tuvin on the outside.
Here comes Vince following in teammates' footsteps. Looks like those Mountain Man guys are rolling the top. You got Justin Vanderbilt back there as well in the 80 car. All those guys trying that top lane. I'll keep an eye on those guys if this run goes for 10 or 15 laps and see how they're doing, lap 35 or so, and see if they're falling back or if they're maintaining, because historically, running the top, that burns your tires here at Homestead.
Well, they've used up 1 set. Now those drivers that have taken those tires really are needing for a long green flag run here. They do not want to be at the end of the race out of tires and losing multiple spots, because that's how you have a really good day end up very badly for yourself. But great racing here is we need to keep an eye on Ethan Stanley. He is making some moves here. He's now trying to get to the outside of Tate Lytle. Almost went 3 wide there. Just got around the 1 there of Adams.
Ethan Chris Wright.
Yeah.
He and Chris Wright are flying through the field. I think Vincent Isabella might be on the same strategy as them, but I think the 9 and the 92 are flying through the field right now. These guys are laying down some steamer laps. 33.6. Leader Ethan Burrell's running slower than that right now. So Chris Wright, Ethan Stanley, they're flying, but also on the top of the racetrack. We know that can be an issue. Looks like Vandermarle's going under White there. I thought somebody caught the wall, but I'm guessing maybe not.
Yeah, Chris Wright did this last season. At the end of the season, they had Homestead. It was very, very fast running that high side lane, but then it had 1 really long green flag run, and he quickly went outside the top 20 So that gives you an idea. I mean, it's fast, but for how long?
You did mention that new tire model, and that's the big question mark is, can Chris Wright save his tires up there? Did he do something different than he did last time we were at Homestead? You can see he's got a lot of speed right now, but I think he might be expecting these guys to, fall off, run some caution laps, and then he can maybe get back on the same cycle as these guys. But this was Chris's strategy last year, and he isn't changing it, and it's worked out for him so far, up into the top 10 for now.
Yeah, right now behind this, you can see the sponsor, the three wide racing TV there. I mean, that was the sponsor for the night, Nick Indelicato. I think Nick Indelicato was the marbles race winner there. I think we have a video of, I think we'll be able to show that, of the marbles
Here it is,
race
the
that we
last
had
lap.
on the Simply
Got
Racing
two
Show
more turns.
podcast.
Nick
So Nick
Indelicato out front, Seth
Indelicato,
Rawls,
see if
Robert
he can
Hill.
get the luck of the marbles,
there.
let the race here and predict
Oh, look at this
the
run.
winner. We'll see. Jeff Green didn't have the best of luck when he won. He was the first guy out of Homestead. Nick Indelicato is not going to be the last guy out of this race, so that's one bit of good news. But he's going to try to see if he can take the luck of the marbles and be able to prove maybe it's the opposite here, and he goes out and wins it.
Back up front quickly, Ryan Gavel has rocketed to second, running that top lane. He is quickly catching Ethan Burrell and prepping to pass him. The other guy that's on the move right now is Scott Crump. He is up to third, closing on teammate Tyler Fody and hunting for that third spot. I think he's going to get it right here, and Brian Gable's going to take the lead from Ethan Burrell down the back straightaway. That 01 car is flying up top, and we're waiting for that tire fall off. These guys running that top lane, they are potentially damaging their long run pace or their short run speed. But again, can they figure out a way to save those tires? Can they figure out a way to keep the tires on the race car for a long stretch here if this race does go green? If anybody can do it, right, Ryan Gable certainly has the track position right now. He is the one, I think, in control of his own destiny. Can he maybe run the bottom here and save those tires a little bit and not lose all the track position that we've seen guys who, exclusively run the top lose in past Homestead races here in the Elite Racing Series?
Yeah, so Gabble battling and taking the lead here, our first lead change of the race, as Ethan Burrell now slots back into second, very quickly looking at maybe losing out to Scott Crump. As you see here, side by side again, these two drivers have been battling their way through the field. One deciding to do the low lane, one deciding to do the top lane, and still battling it out. I have noticed here, David, that the new tires have quickly started to even out.
Yeah. These guys over up at the front have not been running their tires very hard. Ethan Stanley, he's been flying into the corners trying to get around some of these guys and get that track position back. And, he's not that much faster than everybody else now. But again, it was only a couple of laps difference. So I think Ethan Stanley's been able to maintain, if he's able to maintain this, I think it's in 7th place right now. If he's able to get there from 35th starting position, that's a good start to the day.
Good shout out to some drivers starting to make their way back after having a rough start of the race here. Jeff Green already back up to the 25th position, was back in 40th after having that wreck. Has already made 15 passes here. Starting to look to try to see if he can get back around Robert Hill here. So good comeback for Jeff Green after what looked to be almost race-ending damage that he had early on. So good racing here by Jeff Green, trying to bounce back after a rough start of the season.
Right in front of him, last place qualifier Seth Rawls has climbed his way. I think that's almost top 20, 22nd last time across the start finish line for Seth Rawls. So he's climbed through half the field. He's got halfway more to go. For Chip, he's driving, but he's certainly off to a strong start. Kept that car clean out of some of those early incidents. And Seth Rawls has been running the bottom. If the top side does damage those tires, he might be one of the guys capitalizing on those guys falling back through the field.
Let's go back over to Chris Wright, because I think it's now swung over for him. He is now holding up everyone behind him, running that high lane. He is losing time. You saw the 92 who was running that bottom lane. Look how far ahead, just within a few laps. And he had tight. You can tell he's lost the handle of that car. So new tire model did not make a difference for him. He still has no pace on the long run. Right now has a big group of cars stacked up right behind him. Oh,
Nick,
boy.
Nick just put Vince in the wall.
Oh, that could have ended really badly there for Nick Indelicato there as he is able to continue going there. Almost put Vincent into the wall. They are really stacked up behind. That's the one thing about that high side lane. It is able to give you the momentum down the back straightaway and able to get yourself clear as you see Matthew Weeks able to finally get around him. And it is causing a stack up here. Oh, my goodness.
Here comes Indelicato to the inside of right. There's still 3 wide. There's Tooker underneath these guys.
Wide.
Yep, here comes
4
Tate Lytle.
wide coming out of turn 4. Oh, no, Nick getting loose. Tate Lytle cutting off Vincent. Vincent made a little contact with the outside wall as drivers are trying to find a way around Chris Wright.
The tires have fallen off for right. We've seen Tate run into some net code in the last couple of elite races. He missed the Daytona 500, obviously, got Frank Fody into that thing, but this week, Tate's run into some net code problems. He's been real close with some guys there. We haven't seen any net code, any cars jumping up and down, so hopefully that's resolved itself, but that's kind of an ever-present worry, and with Tate, he's an Oregon guy, so he's out west, not as close to some of these guys on the East Coast, like Vincent Isabella and Nick Massey and some of the other guys.
Yeah, I'm wondering how long does Nick Indelicato stay behind Chris Wright without trying to move him, because he cannot get that bottom lane to work, and he cannot continue to lose spots as now David Tooker gets around and also Tate Lytle. So all 3 Pro Edge drivers got around Nick Indelicato, and now here comes Nick Massey. And it's costing Nick Indelicato a lot of time being behind that 90 car.
Speaking of costing time, Ryan Gavel, another one of our guys running the top, he is now fighting for the lead with Ethan Burrell up at the front of the field. Burrell has caught Gavel back. Crump and Fody are right behind them as well. So 3 Lake Norman cars surrounding that do good. Chevrolet of Ethan Burrell, but Gavel able to keep him fended off, and now Crump's going to try to pin Burrell on the bottom and take over that second position.
Here comes Tyler Fody trying to work around with his teammate. They're going to have that advantage being on that high lane there. We've seen how difficult it is to try to make the pass on the bottom. And now Lake Norman 1, 2, 3 out front of the do-good car of Ethan Burrell. So right there, it almost seemed like Ryan Cavill dropped back just to put a block on on Ethan Burrell to allow his teammates an easy pass there. I know that's probably not what happened, but definitely seemed like it. As here comes Scott Crump now to try to take over the lead for our second battle for the lead here in the race.
Scott, I don't think this is going to be much of a battle. Crump's saved the tires. He's rocking the bottom lane. Got
a little
Scott, Scott messaged the Lake Norman chat earlier, mentioned that car is going to push tight on the long run. And what we're seeing is if you're running the top and that thing pushes tight, you're going to go into the wall. So you have to slow it down more and more. And on the bottom, you can let that car wash a little bit. And even though it's tight, you can still get that car to turn using the throttle coming off the corner. I think Scott, Tyler Fody, those guys running that first scene, that's kind of the typical expected fast line around Homestead, and it looks like even new tire model, it's still the same way.
Great battling here for the lead. This is exactly what you want to have happen at Homestead. A lot of comer and goers from the tires advantage and how people have drove through the field either with new tires or saved their tires. As you see now, Ethan Burrell jump up to that high side lane trying to see if he can take advantage of those tires life that they have now, because probably not in too much longer. I would have to almost guess in about maybe 10 or 15 more laps, we'll probably have some green flag pit stops here. But right now, it looks like, Scott Crump really having... You said Gavel was going to be an easy pass. I don't think so. I think Gavel wants to continue to lead this race, maybe for his sponsor there, the Hucks machine, and do his sponsor proud here tonight.
Doing great.
And here comes Fody now. Fody to the inside of Gavel, and the yellow flag is out.
Yes. Oh, boy.
Ruins that perfectly excellent long run where we were battling it out for the lead. 3 Lake Norman cars duking it out, and it's Josh Personette around the front.
My other car. Oh, no.
It's the Hucks showing here.
Huck, you're leading the race. It's okay, buddy.
Oh, it's a solo spin.
Oh, he just got loose there. Up the racetrack into the wall.
Oh, and after the really good move to dodge the first wreck, Personette has difficulty on old tires, spins that thing out, and unfortunately makes contact with the wall and does draw the caution.
So these drivers will absolutely be taking tires here. As what lap is it going to be for the halfway point? Do you have that statistic up back?
67.
67.
Yep.
So lap 67. So that's going to set up a little more than 20 laps run for these drivers to try to go after that 1 point. And I got to say, this was probably perfect timing for everybody. I mean, the drivers that decided to take tires earlier on, they feel like they got a good run out of them. And now drivers are going to be down pit road. We're going to see who's going to win this pit road battle here.
Yeah, those guys were down to 34.3. They were about a second off their qualifying laps. So everybody coming to get 4 fresh tires here. And we'll see if those guys can make this on one more stop. I'm not entirely sure that they can. Under 100 laps, I would think they can make it on one more stop.
They could probably make it on one more. Yeah, they could probably make it on one.
One more stop. That's what I'm thinking.
As you see the battle off here. Ethan Burrell got a good stop.
It's either Gavel or Fody.
I think Fody might have got him.
That would be big. The number 2 man. But Burrell did beat Crump off pit road.
A couple drivers getting loose off pit road, gassing it.
See if Gable gives the spot to Fody here on the back straightaway. I think he's going to retain the lead as Ryan Gable.
Okay.
Robert Hill staying out, doing the patented Robert Hill move of pitting the lap after everybody else pits. Not a bad move. We've seen some pit road incidents the past couple of league races.
That we have. It is. We saw it just last week. Some pit road incidents.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So this type of track, you normally wouldn't want to have any damage, but we've seen so far drivers have been able to, even with damage, at least with new tires, keep up. Jeff Green, one of those drivers that had a good run there, but now finds himself. Look, he's still on pit road getting some damage fixed, so maybe just trying to make sure this car is completely repaired, Jeff Green. But yeah, it looks like Gavel's going to take the lead still here, going to retain the lead still here. Tyler Fody able to get up to the second, Ethan Burrell third, Scott Crump drops back down to fourth, Harrison Hogan going to be in fifth, Matthew Weeks, our Daytona 500 winner. And while we've got this, well, how about we showcase, well, actually, do you want to do a commercial, Dave? Let's pay some bills here. Let's go through a commercial here.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And we're back just in time for us to go green flag racing here as Ryan Gavel decides to take the outside lane there. It's going to be Pro Edge 1, 2, 4, maybe 1, 2, 3 here, depending on how they get their restart here. Pace car is going to be down. We're on lap 44, come to lap 45. Lap 67 is the one to keep an eye on. That will be when the point is awarded.
Like Norman with a really good start there. They do get the jump on Ethan Burrell. and I'm wondering if some of these guys learned anything. Ryan Gable went from 7th or so to the lead, started 12th, went to the lead, running that top lane, and was able to hold on to it. Now, he probably would have been passed eventually on that long green flag run had it stayed green, but he got that track position via running that top. I think some of these guys are going to consider going up there on this one.
Yeah, well, with the new tires and a lot of tire strategy being played out, it kind of really split up the field here with drivers that are good on long runs and drivers that are focusing on going fast. As we see who that ends up being. Again, who runs that high lane knowing that they have to look at that point coming up here? Who thinks they can be able to still be able to win that stage point? And who's going to focus on trying to get the tires to last? As looks like our top 10 are single file, but we got some really close combat. The three of Vincent Isabella almost gets into contact there with Nick Massey.
It was Cutlip.
Cutlip.
Yeah, and that's all right behind Chris Wright going back to the top of the racetrack. His teammate Nick Massey up there, he's up at the top of the racetrack. So those Mountain Man guys, they're hunting that top groove. They've really been kind of focused on it. And all that's abounding three-wide action all around that group of cars, from Massey all the way back through Isabella and Wyatt Canadal and William White back here.
I find it so funny. Nick Indelicato still trying to figure out a way around Chris Wright here, side by side as they go 3 wide here. As Tate Lytle has the very low lane, now back to 2 wide. Tate Lytle drops back just a little bit, maybe focusing on tire strategy. Chris Wright still running the high lane, and Nick Indelicato still trying to figure out how to find a way around.
There's a guy who runs like Kevin Harvick, wraps the bottom no matter what. That's going to be that 56 car. I doubt you'll see him crack it off of that first seam at any point during this race. Tate Lytle's a bottom feeder through and through, and he'll try to save those tires until the cows come home.
It's funny you mentioned that. He's a big Kevin Harvick fan. That's his favorite driver.
That's exactly why I made the comparison.
There you go. You knew,
Yeah.
You knew right away, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to compare Andrew Rucker to Kenzo.
Don't mention that.
Rucker's right back here. He's running pretty good. He's up here in the top 20, having a solid run in 19th.
Yeah, maybe a Ware. I would compare him to a Ware somewhere, but yeah, it looks like 64 running that high lane up there, trying to see if he can make a dent in any of these drivers. Ooh, a couple of drivers making contact with that outside wall.
I think Michael Hossack's hitting the wall every time I'm coming off the floor that I've looked back here. The 24 car is wearing the right side out.
Yeah, scrubbing the numbers off of it for sure.
It's all cosmetic for Michael Hossack. He's already been involved in a wreck. He's got some paint to wear.
Well, still the battle now looks like to be right there with Ethan Burrell running that middle lane. He's gonna have his battling
Here comes Hogan. It's all right there in that same area.
Yeah,
Hogan
right
almost hit Fody in the middle of 3 and 4. I think that's the second time Fody and Hogan have been very close to making contact.
Yeah, Fody's not learning from it. He continues to drop down right in front of him and checking him up. But yeah, Ethan Burrell, our pole sitter, now dropping back to the 6th position. Gonna have Chris Wright now trying to jump up to his high side. Chris Wright is definitely gonna need cautions if this is his strategy for the rest of the race. Gonna have to have cautions come out at the exact time he needs them, because he's fast when it's a short run speed here.
Yeah, he's really, really strong over those first couple of laps. But look at these two up front, man. 0-1 Ryan Gable, 90 Scott Crump, running that first seam. They're not running the top. They're pulling away from Tyler Fody, Garrison Hogan, Matthew Weeks, and Chris Wright. I mean, they've gapped them by a second to this point. Both the two teammates, Lake Norman Motorsports, a couple of really fast hot rods right now in that 01 and 90.
Yeah, right now has their teammate there, Fody, playing blocker back there, holding off Hogan. Hogan's right on the back bumper. Is now Chris Wright able to go to the outside of Matthew Weeks and make that pass. So now Chris Wright enters into the top 5 for the first time tonight here.
I think Chris Wright maybe would jump in line right a little bit, on that bottom lane, try to keep those tires cool, and then transition up to the top at the end of the run. But nope,
Nah,
he ain't
he's not
interested in
going
that.
to. He's gonna ride and die up on that high lane there, and see where it brings him here. But yeah, it looks like Chris Wright's going to still try to get that high lane working for him, see if he can be able to get to the outside of Garrison Hogan. A lot of racing still happening outside right there in the top 10. As you see the one there, that's going to be the Simply Racing podcast sponsored vehicle there of Josh Adams. Been running in the top 10 all night, doing a really good job. He has to have some points go his way because he is right now really far back in points, considering he didn't even get to make Daytona. So he's going to need a good points run here if he wants to have any hope of being able to get his way into the chase here.
Yeah, and you can win a race though, right? Like, and Josh Adams very capable of winning some of these races. Obviously in the top 10 in this race, so he'll maybe need something to break his way to get up here and contend with some of these guys that are up front. But Adams certainly, a present force in the top 10 in elite racing across many seasons of competition. So I expect it's not unlikely that Josh Adams wins a race before the season is out, as he has moved forward. And I'm thinking about Ethan Stanley right now. He's running 8th. He used the top and maybe a couple lap fresher tires than everybody else to drive into the top 10. He has now run the bottom. He's working on points leader Ethan Burrell, pulse leader Ethan Burrell. It's pretty interesting that Ethan Stanley took that outside lane. He's rocketed it to the front, and now he's running that bottom lane almost exclusively, trying to save his tires now. It is possible, right? Someone messaged Chris Wright. It is possible to change your strategy and run the bottom once you get that track position. And Ryan Gable's done the same as well. But at some point there, Scott Crump took the lead. And yeah, that 90 car is checking out. He's already half a second up over Ryan Gable.
Well, he did make the bottom work there. He was able to get around Tyler Fode, able to get himself up into the top 3. So Chris Wright is absolutely flying no matter where he goes. But he just ended up taking over that spot. Go back here and see what happened up here with the leader. Oh, Ryan Gable. Oh, boy. What a tank slapper that was. That was lucky he was able to catch it. But that's what got Scott Crump out front there. And, yeah, that could have ended real badly for both of the Lake Norman cars. As Chris Wright's still running that high side lane. And we have less than 10 laps to go for us to award that point to the driver at the halfway. So still undecided who that's going to be just at this point. But right now, Scott Crump doing a good job being top 10.
Scott's definitely got his eye on the championship this year, right? I believe he missed the Final Four last season. He was not involved in that championship battle in the final race, and he was kicking himself because I think he was ended up suspended after some altercations with one Chad Frankenfield. And if Scott can keep his temper in check, which it's kind of an ever-present thing with Scott Crump, if he can just keep that in check, keep his eye on the bigger picture this full season, right, he's showing why he's maybe one of the biggest championship threats in this group. He's very fast. He's approaching grabbing that first playoff point, and that 90 car is going to be a threat at every single track that looks like this, right? Any mile-and-a-half type track, I expect Scott Crump to be one of the fastest cars.
Well, he was our guest speaker last week for the Simply Racing podcast, and he stated he's focused in on this season to try to get this championship wrapped up. He's got it in the trucks. He watched both of his teammates end up making it into the playoffs. Watched one of his teammates win the championship of Tyler Fode there. Definitely wants to be the next one to submit himself in for that Pro Wedge, or for that Lake Norman. Did I say Pro Wedge earlier?
I think you
Lake
did.
Norman. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Lake Norman team.
How dare you
Lake
get them
Norman team.
confused?
I know. Different manufacturer and everything. But no, Lake Norman driver there trying to see if he can follow into his team owner's tracks and get himself a championship this season.
Yeah, it's definitely the goal here. I do want to note Zach Evans, longtime Elite Series driver and my teammate in another league, noted in our YouTube broadcast that running the top may burn your tires, but it's way more fun and you look cool.
It looks cool until about 25 laps into it, and then you don't look so cool. then you look like the jerk holding up everybody, and we're about to find that out again. As Chris Wright is holding up,
head backwards.
Going backwards now, Chris Wright. It is it's a bus ticket, and you get both ways with Chris. You're gonna get the uptown and downtown with Chris Wright, as he's right now heading downtown, and we'll see how far he falls back. He's gonna hope for a caution here. Again, his strategy is going to be very reliant on cautions coming out when it needs to. Right now, Ethan Burrell running right behind him. Going to cause a little bit of stack up again, I think. He's providing the entertainment here for us.
First off, I admire Chris Wright for sticking to the strategy. I think it's very admirable. It's probably not going to work if this race stays green, but I love him for it. Second of all, Ethan Burrell ran the top side that time on the back straightaway because he wanted to set up a run. So he got in behind Chris Wright, ran that top group, set up a run down the back straightaway, dropped inside of Chris Wright, and had enough momentum going into turn 3 to turn that into a pass. Therefore, he was not blocked by Chris Wright like we saw Nick Delicado do earlier. So a very veteran, savvy move from pole sitter Ethan Burrell, and that's why we had him tell us how to drive the race before he knows what he's doing out there.
Well, with only about 4 laps left to go before the stage point being awarded, unless if something crazy happens, it looks very comfortable for Scott Crump as he's got himself quite a bit of a lead here, but it looks like now Gavel there in the 01 running the high side lane, trying to get some last minute here speed in his car to see if he can mount a charge. And right now it looks like to be working. He is starting to catch Scott Crump here, so there is a battle here actually starting to brew for the stage point before it's all said and done.
There are no team orders over at Lake Norman, right? Larry Gable, if he can catch Scott Crump, he will catch Scott Crump. He'll race him for that stage point. I think Crump would prefer Gable sit back, but Gable ain't gonna do that. He wants to win this stage just as much as Crump.
You can't do that when you're considering how close it is, because that stage point goes to your stage final total, and that goes all the way to the championship 4. I mean, you have to, if you can get it, it's worth more than just leading a lap. It's stage point that will help you, and you have to think back, if you don't make it in, and it's a 1-point reason why, you look back in situations like this as the deciding factor. But now down to only 0.2 of a second now from Scott Crump with 2 laps left to go. He is starting to mount this challenge here for the lead.
Yep, Gable very close, within a 10th. Let's see if that 01 can drop to the inside. Crump has gone up top, taken away the lane that Ryan Gable's been running.
Yeah, right up against the wall, Gavel is trying to get that speed. Oh, here they come. They're going to have the white flag of, I guess you would say, the final lap of the stage end, as now Gavel's going to jump down to the bottom side by side.
This was a very impressive run by Ryan Gable up to the lead of the race, but I think Scott Crump's going to have the momentum, having chosen that top groove.
Oh, he got loose.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, he got so loose. He tried everything he could. I don't think he's too far back to make anything work at this point. Still going to try to run that high lane, but wow, what a save. That got really loose. He ran that bottom for the first time in a few laps, and I don't think the tires agreed with it.
That is going to harm the right rear tire of that 01, and now's when I think the 40, the 37, and some of these guys back here start to creep in on these two, which just spent a good bit of tire heat trying to run a little bit extra hard to go ahead and acquire that stage point. It does go to Scott Crump at that halfway mark, and now we're going to start thinking about that last green flag pit stop when that's going to happen. I think Gable's hoping it's sooner rather than later after the way that car got loose coming off of turn 2.
So put it down. Scott Crump, 1.2 his name, going for the championship 4, goes to the advantage of Scott Crump there, as you see Gable still trying to see if he can get that outside lane working, but I don't think he's got the speed necessarily as he had there for a little bit. As you see, Fody now has a new contender right behind him, Ethan Burrell, able to get past Harrison. Uh-oh.
Vital and Nadel are bouncing off each other going into 3. They're trying to wreck.
What a name combination there.
They're not making it easy on me.
No, I'm not even going to try, because I don't think I could. That's too much of a tongue twister for me. Oh, they were. What in the world's going on there? They were arguing over space.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a little net code to start this, and then they got right there. I think a little net code started it, sucked Tate into Wyatt, and those guys are pretty good friends. But I think Wyatt got a little irritated, came back down the racetrack. Tate came back up the racetrack, and they just bounced off each other down the back straightaway.
And they're just giving each other new door numbers, adding some zeros to their already numbers on the side of their. I think Tate, that final bit was him just retaliating a little bit, pushing him into the wall. Wow.
That was very interesting there.
And we've seen here in the last few races, Tate's brought in a little anger into some of the races that we've seen. We saw in the truck races earlier this week. So Tate's not in the best of moods, I guess you would say. So maybe a little anger displaying there against Wyatt Knadel there. But looks like Ethan Stanley making another position on Nick Massey here, getting himself up into the 7th spot. So really impressive and well done run by there of Ethan Stanley, trying to get up there to race with his Lake Norman teammates there, and very quickly sees them in his mirror starting to grow bigger and bigger. So may have another Lake Norman car battling here before too long for the lead.
Oh, I have news. Nick Indelicato has passed Chris Wright.
Wow, let it be known, it can be done.
Chris Wright and Vincent Isabella are sliding backwards. The two Mountain Man Motorsports Chevys that kind of pioneered that wall riding, they are now suffering quite greatly. Their lap times are 3/4 off everybody else's, and the guys moving forward right now are guys like David Tucker, who's up to 12th, and that car is really quite quick right now. It's running really well on the bottom of the racetrack. Tate Lido's also moving forward, as we kind of well documented. He's moving off of people and forward. But those Pro Edge Toyotas seem to have that tire-saving long-run speed down.
Yeah, definitely a tale of two heads here. As you can see who's been focusing on what at this point in stage, as Chris Wright's already outside the top 10, now falling back. What position is he in?
15th.
Back in 17th.
Yep. 15th.
Yeah.
Just got bypassed by William White in that 43 car, and Wyatt Knadel's looking after him right now for 16th.
Yeah, so I mean, losing about 2 cars, two positions a lap. Chris Wright is now going to be outside the top 20 before too long if he does not get a caution his way. But also keep an eye on him as far as potential drivers that will come down pit road if we do have a green flag pit stop, one of the first. Is now we got a battle for 3rd place starting to shape up. Tyler Fode's been doing a good job of keeping all these Pro Edge and Pro Edge affiliated drivers behind, or drivers behind him there. As he's been battling against about every single one of them at this point, trying to keep them behind his teammates.
Yeah, a pretty remarkable job. As here comes Chris Wright for that final pit stop.
I called it. I did call it. I love it when I call it correctly here. Chris Wright probably going to be one of the first drivers down pit road, and proves me correct as he is now down trying to get some tires. Do look that there one thing that is to note: most cautions here at Homestead usually tends to be on drivers with fresh tires to old tires, and the difference there. So keep an eye on these drivers coming down pit road. They will be significantly faster. As here comes our Daytona winner. As we showcase this, how about we showcase Matthew Weeks' win from last week here at Daytona? We're going to take a look back. The last lap at Daytona, folks, if you missed it, it was a doozy. Matthew Weeks able to get it here as they come across the line to take the white flag in their race. It was behind Nick Massey for the majority of it. And then right there at the end, he got some teammate help. You see them pushing their way up to get in that lead. What do you remember most about that win, David?
Well, I think right here when we had a 3 or 4 car breakaway just like the Clash, and then there was a big wreck behind it. It turned into a battle of 2 Pro Edge cars versus just Nick Massey. And at that point, right, the teamwork overpowers Massey. Entering turn 3, Matthew Weeks able to make that pass and win the Daytona 500. Very strong night for that group. Weeks led a number of laps. He was one of the top lap leaders in the race, won stage 2. And I believe he'll be the points leader. And so far in this one, he's running top 5 once again, making himself a statement as an early championship favorite.
Yeah, this whole time that we've been watching back, still battling side by side. Bodie is becoming the impenetrable wall as he has been holding them back.
Gable just bounced it off the fence. I'm wondering when that 0-1's finally going to fall off here. He's been running the top quite a bit. His car has not fallen off the same way as Isabella's and Chris Wright's did.
What's funny is they've been battling side by side for 3rd position and catching the leaders at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're battling it out, but still running down these leaders. These leaders probably getting closer to their time of coming down pit road as well.
I think they're probably still a few laps off, and they're probably going to try to take it as long as possible, right? I think the fresher tires, if this race does go green in the end, very possible. That's what you're going to want those tires for as late in the run as you can get them. So, Tyler Fode's typical strategy of these, he wants to stay it out as long as possible, not be that first car to hit. Obviously, Chris Wright, he burned the right front off of that thing. He had to come down early, and let's check in with him, see if he's up at the top of the racetrack again as that first lap down. Looks like he's on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, he's running the bottom. He just ran a 33.3, so that's pretty quick compared to the leader who just did the last time by a 34.1. So
Leighton Norgard is off tracking down at the bottom.
Dirt tracking.
I think we're good. That 33 car's damaged. There's some severe issues with it. 4 laps down, his poor Leighton Norgard got caught up in incidents not of his own making, and hopefully he can keep it out of the grass the rest of the way. That'd be a good goal.
No, he didn't have a front bumper to worry about ripping off, so that's one bit of good news for Leighton Norgard there. But Matthew Weeks finally able to get around Tyler Fode while we were talking there. Now finally splits up these Lake Norman vehicles and is quickly making some time on the leaders here. So he's trying to go back-to-back wins here. Matthew Weeks trying to really prove a point here that he should have been probably championship favorite, and I don't know if anyone crowned him that, but he's starting to make a statement here, kind of like his real life number there or his driver number there in real life of Denny Hamlin winning the first event in NASCAR, trying to prove a point that maybe it follows that number around.
Josh Adams on pit road in the number 1 car. Maybe the second car to take tires among the front 10 or so.
You have to keep an eye on when these drivers are going to come down pit road, because there is a big tire advantage. But again, I mean, it's coming to the point where, what lap did we have that caution? It was on lap 40.
40.
Isabella down pit road. Yeah, and he's one of the ones who needed to come down pit road, was the number 3 car.
Do you suspect maybe we will have some drivers trying to make it on only one stop? I mean, it's
Absolutely.
probably pretty close, don't you?
Yeah, I think as soon as Wright's window opened to make it the rest of the way, he pitted, and from here everybody can make it on the first stop. I highly doubt that Chris Wright would have pitted knowing he has to pit again, even if he couldn't make it that far. I think he would have waited and going slowly to make sure he can make it the rest of the way on that pit stop. So my assumption is Chris Wright pitted at the very opening of this window, and now we're waiting on these guys to decide when they want to come down pit road. Gavel just lost second to Weeks, by the way.
Yeah, Weeks just got around him and now sets his sights on the leader, Scott Crump. So Weeks here has saved the tires immaculately, as he is now having a strong run here at this event. You can see right here the times. I mean, he's over a 10th faster, which is absolutely incredible.
It's a lot. Weeks, Tooker, Cutlip, those are the guys right now moving forward. Garrison Hogan, he saved the tires really nicely in the 36 car.
Down pit road.
Yep, first one of the front runners down pit road is the Do Good Motorsports Chevy of Ethan Burrell.
I had noticed that he had dropped down to 7th position right before him going down pit road. Oh,
contact
Fode
again!
Finally getting actually bumpered here by Garrison Hogan. I think Garrison Hogan's had enough of Fode cutting off the nose, and is using the new front bumper of the Toyotas to good use here, as he finally uses it to get around Tyler Fode. Fode's now dropping back and losing a few of these spots.
Blake Norman card really fast on the first 2/4 of the run, or 2/3 of the run, really. But this last third, it's been all these Pro Edge cars of Weeks, Hogan, David Tooker, Tate Lytle. Those guys are the ones making time right now, and we'll see when these Lake Norman cars want to come down the road, because the strength of their cars is in this first bit of the run. So that's where they're going to make the most time, but they can't lose all that time, running with these old tires to these guys. I mean, if Crump gets close to losing the lead, he's got to come down pit road.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely a case of chicken right now. Who comes down pit road? Who's gonna be the first of the jump of the actual leaders up here in the top 3? Again, there's a lot of strategy being played out because again, I mean, these drivers aren't looking at just when to take the tires now, but possibly what tires they're going to finish with at the end. Do they want to hold off people or do they want to make a late race charge? And that kind of determines on how they've done in this run. Matthew Weeks, I would have to guess, is going to be one of those that's going to stay out as long as he feels comfortable. So he may be one of the last ones to pit just based off his long run speed as you see some more drivers coming down pit road.
First, Nick Massey on pit road, and then Wyatt Knadel as well on pit road. Update for the cars that have pitted: Josh Adams is the current leader of that group, just in front of Ethan Burrell, and he's on the same straightaway as the leader, so he's working to unlap himself in the event of an untimely caution. And now we have a battle for the lead.
Matthew Weeks finally able to get back up there. Now going to have a battle and see if he can be able to be the first Toyota to lead the race here. And that lap he was able to. So now Matthew Weeks able to get that Toyota number 11 for Pro Edge out front. But looks like Scott Crump's not willing to get it up just yet.
Yeah, but Garrison Hogan's joining this battle. We got the tight shot right now. Hogan is right there in the 36.
Yeah, late run speed here. I mean, out of nowhere. I did not see Garrison Hogan having that much speed there, and he's quickly caught up. So now Garrison Hogan, Matthew Weeks may not have this for very long here.
Nope. The 36 is real fast, and Tyler Fode's car has really come to life after getting bypassed by Weeks and Hogan. He might have learned something by losing spots to those guys. And that 40 car, all of a sudden, it's reeled in the 90. It's right here with Weeks. It didn't get pulled away from, so Tyler Fode's got a little something at the end of the long run as well.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks now has a new competitor right behind him. The Toyotas have emerged here, as now we got 2 Toyotas out front here. Looks like Garrison Hogan's going to try to run that high side lane out for the rest of this race.
Battle for third, and that's they're battling underneath Josh Adams, who's going by these guys on the fresh tires.
Adams showing some real pace with the new tires. I think he's leading all drivers with new tires right now. So there, that Simply Racing podcast car would initially be the leader, I do believe, once people decide to come down pit road. How long he'll keep it is unknown, but good run there for the number 1 of Adams as Chad Brakefield emerges off the pit road as well.
Big moment here. Adams is back on the lead lap. He has pulled in front of Matthew Weeks, so if an untimely caution hits, Adams would be the race leader.
Ethan Burrell kind of affected that battle for third, as that allowed Fode to be able to get around Scott Crump. So now Fode sets his sights on this battle for the lead, trying to see if maybe he saved a little bit more. Maybe he let them by just to try to run them down later on. We'll see here, as now good battling here for this race on lap 94. A lot of lead changes so far in this race, and doing a really good job of showcasing how wonderful this racetrack is.
Absolutely, yeah. And, we've seen different lanes work differently, and we've seen guys have success with a lot of different strategies, and now we've got a strategy race to the end, as here comes Ryan Gable onto pit road.
I think this is going to set it up. I feel like this is going to be the point in time that this is going to start bringing down some of these other drivers. Ryan Gable there, we saw how fast he is on those new tires. He may try to go about distancing himself of these other drivers, so we'll have to see. I do have to believe a few of these drivers are going to start coming down pit road now.
Ethan Burrell has also unlapped himself, so the 37 car would be in front of the leaders, not trapped a lap down. And the first car a lap down is Chris Wright at this point. So Nick Massey's trapped a lap down. Colin Culpa, Wyatt Knadel, and others. And yep, here comes Crump and Cutlip.
Yeah, I said it. They're going to start coming down. They saw the first ones of the leaders jump and come down pit road, and now Scott Crump and as well as Cutlip coming down pit road.
Battle for the lead on the back straightaway. On top of all this, Garrison Hogan going after Matthew Weeks. He'll drop to the bottom of the racetrack, try to lead this race for the first time in the 36 car.
Oh, slides up just a little bit.
He got him.
I wonder if Matthew Weeks is now going to decide to come down.
Oh, he's loose though.
Back down, now battling. He cut back underneath Garrison Hogan. Garrison Hogan loose coming out of turn 4. And now it's battle for the lead once again, going turns 1 and 2.
I don't think Hogan's running technically allied as a Pro Edge driver. I was wondering if these guys were racing so hard. Garrison is off of fueled up racing. in that 36 car. But man, oh man, what a close battle between the two of them. And Hogan, I think, is going to prevail right here.
Oh, loose again coming out of the turns. Here
Tyler
comes
Fody down pit road.
Cody cuts down. You got to wonder if these two guys are battling each other and not focusing on the other competitors here. That's something you don't want to do. These two are still battling it out. I guess you would say these aren't necessarily teammates, but as much as you would say that Joe Gibbs and Furniture Row wasn't teammates. I mean,
Right.
technically, but
They're
not.
lied. Not in the same voice chat though. These guys are battling it out fair and square, away from each other. And Matthew Weeks now having to give that outside lane up on the front straightaway to Nick Massey. That's going to allow Hogan to pull away a little bit. But how many of these guys can catch? Tyler Fody, Scott Crump, all these guys that are going to be on those fresh tires. How is this thing going to cycle out?
They have to pit within the next 5 laps. If they do not pit in the next
Right.
5 laps, I think they've cost themselves a chance at a win here. They've got to pit here shortly. I understand you got long run speed, but you're talking about only having 34 laps to prove it. That's not going to be enough time here. You're going to need to go about pitting here shortly. I know they're battling each other, and I think that might be hurting them because they're focusing on each other more than they're focusing on the competitors around them.
It's this whole Pro Edge group, right? Tate Lytle, David Tooker, they've stayed out the longest. Ethan Stanley has stayed out, so Blake Norman does have one of their guys staying out, but Stanley's definitely less fast than all these Pro Edge Toyotas. And then McIntosh, Johnny Thomas, Jesse Racimus, those guys have stayed out as well, but they're not quite on the same level right now. They're almost within striking distance of Josh Adams.
You see some more
coming down.
competitors. Oh, Ethan Stanley. That could have ended really badly for him. He locked it up, but it looks like he did get it low down. David Tooker now coming down pit road, as well as Tate Lytle. So now we're
Hogan
with these other drivers.
Hogan and Weeks are battling again for the lead. Weeks ran him down.
I think Garrison Hogan said he's come down pit road. Somebody said they're coming.
He's not
down
going to be
pit
able
road.
to. Crump's in the way. Hogan's going to have to give up a lot of time on pit entry.
Yeah, he's just now able to get down and clear himself of that bottom lane.
That's
so
a
Hogan's
lot of time given up. Hogan lost a ton of time in there.
We're gonna have to keep an eye on when where he comes out at, and how far behind some of these drivers that are going to be battling it out for the lead. I think the one that we're going to have to look at is going to be between Garrison Hogan and in the Garrison Hogan machine there.
Yeah, no, I think Hogan and Weeks have stayed out too long. We'll see if it works that way. But I think
Weeks is still out there. What are you doing?
I just don't know that 32 laps is enough time to make up a big chunk of distance. You have a lot of ground to make up. We'll see where Hogan cycles out to, but these guys are way back.
It's not just the time; it's the cars you have to pass. He's going to have to pass a lot of cars, and you saw how hard it is to make that bottom side work once you start trying to push it. I mean, it's almost the cars than it is the track position. As you see, Tyler Fody able to now get himself back onto the lead lap. Let's go ahead and see where Garrison Hogan is at on track right now.
He's a lap down right there, and he's well behind Gavin Hibbs. He's behind Fody by a half a straightaway, and the tires aren't that much fresher than Fody's. So Hogan is just, I just don't know. I think Hogan might be okay. I think Weeks is out here way too long.
Yeah, I think Weeks is now
he's coming in. He's coming in now.
He's coming in this time, but I mean, he's going to be probably about at least half a straightaway behind Garrison Hogan at least.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at Hogan's first lap time with fresh tires here, and let's see how he is compared to Tyler Fody, who's the guy he's running down. See, 33.3. Fody ran 33.2 last time by. Hogan's not even making time up on Fody.
Yeah, I mean, even Scott Crump, who's way in front of both of those. Scott Crump even able to get around Garrison Hogan now. Scott Crump did a 33.3.
Right.
So,
and Josh Adams is running 33.8, right? That's not enough, right? There was like a happy medium there, where you could, you'll make up a lot of time on the fresh tires, but you're not going to lose a lot of time to the guys who stay out when they have fresh tires. There's a happy medium there, and I think it's a good gamble for McIntosh, Johnny Thomas, Jesse Racimus, these guys who are out there right now.
Because they can hope for a caution at this point.
Exactly.
they're
Perhaps the guys lap down.
yeah, they're gambling right now. They're knowing that if it doesn't pay off, they're going to probably be back where they were running at to begin with, which was mid-pack or further. So, I mean, for these guys, I can see it. I mean, they're going to probably all be passed here probably in the next 6-7 laps anyhow.
And here comes Ethan Burrell on.
Oh,
Justin
Jeff
Fortner.
Green around on pit road. Does not
Burrell
cause
and-
caution.
Burrell just bounced off of Justin Fortner in turn 2 as well. So these guys are
They're
really
battling
going
it.
hard.
Yeah, this is. I mean, there could definitely be a caution here, which is absolutely not what Garrison Hogan or Matthew Weeks wants right now.
No, they do not want a caution. They want this thing to go green, prove us wrong, right? That's what those guys are looking for. But man, Matthew Weeks is behind Tooker. He's behind Lytle. He's behind Ethan Stanley. I just think there's no chance that he properly calculated that out. And there's a point where it's no longer beneficial to have the fresh tires by 2 or 3 laps. You've got to be, I don't know, Daytona 500 winner. He can gamble a little bit, I suppose, right? He's not as under anywhere near as much pressure as some of the rest of these guys.
So Scott Crump right now is located about a little less than, or a little more than 3 seconds behind I guess you would say the inevitable leader once everyone pits, which is Joshua Adams.
Nope. It's the 37 of Ethan Burrell. He is.
Oh yeah,
he's
he
three
is.
se-
Isn't he?
He's
way
3
up
seconds. He's 3 seconds ahead of Adams. Burrell's
wow.
the leader, the de facto leader right now, right? Ty McIntosh, Johnny Thomas will have to pit before the end of this one. Those guys are making a strategy play. That's very typical Johnny Thomas, by the way. Stay out until the fuel tank is empty.
Pretty much, yes. But it works sometimes, and to his advantage, it does. When it does pay off, it pays off big for him. And then other times, he does not get the finish that he deserves, and he ends up in those point positions that it's a nail biter at the end of the season. You almost wish he just run a normal race, and he would get, with how consistent he is, he just have some good races go his way.
Okay.
But as you said, I did not notice that Ethan Burrell is the de facto leader there, but he is losing time quite a bit. I mean, Scott Crump is about 4/10 faster, and only located about 5 seconds behind him. So that will be brought down before the end of the race here.
I mean, Burrell is doing everything he can, right? I mean, he was 7th, I think, when he pitted, and he was the first one to come down in that kind of more reasonable cycle, I think, and he was able to take advantage. Adams pitted really early, Massey pitted really early, but Burrell's gonna have a pretty big lead, but that car is just gonna be so much slower, right? He's been very consistent on lap time, 33.7 just about every time, but Scott Crump's sitting at 33.5 still. He's making it 2 3/10 a lap, and I think as Burrell's car falls off, Crump's car is going to come to life and run him down a little bit.
There is no way Matthew Weeks is able to get back up to the lead here unless there's a caution. He is behind just Garrison Hogan, Garrison Hogan by almost 6 seconds.
That is, wow.
That's too much. For only about 3 or 4 lap difference, that's too much. He's behind our leader, or eventual now leader of Ethan Burrell. He's behind him by 15 seconds with 24 laps to go. There's no way. There's no way. I honestly think this goes over to Lake Norman. I think they timed it perfectly. I think Scott Crump is.
The question is Garrison Hogan to me here.
True.
Garrison's only only 2 seconds behind Foden. So that's the big
Garrison
question.
Hogan's still having a shot at this, yes.
Yeah.
But it depends also on how hard those Pro Edge drivers. He's got to pass all 3 of them, and if they're not those not Pro Edge, Lake Norman drivers, he's got to pass 3 Lake Norman drivers, and those Lake Norman drivers, their mindset is if they can't win it, they want their teammate to win it. So how hard are they going to try to go about slowing down this 36 car?
Yeah, I think they'll be very difficult to pass. Is the bottom story.
Well, right before we get going to the action-packed part, we're going to do our sponsor reads here, so that way we can get these through and thank those that allow us to be able to watch this, and then we'll get back to seeing how this all plays out here.
All right, tonight series sponsor is Belly Up Sports. Belly Up Sports is the internet sports bar sports commentary via podcasts, forums, and articles on topics ranging to nearly every sport. It's not your usual sports site. Check out them on X or on bellyupsports.com. Race sponsor tonight is 3 Wide Television. Carlos Acosta is 3 Wide Television, and he said, hey guys, there are no reads for 3 Wide Television. He says that we should just throw in some thanks, and that's good enough for him. So thanks, Carlos Acosta and 3 Wide Television. Premier sponsors are Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. It features a 1.25-mile track that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series. It has a 2-mile infield road course used by Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America, a quarter-mile NHRA drag strip that hosts the Midwest Nationals event, and the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. Those are our sponsors tonight, gentlemen.
Dave, are you one of those people that if it has on their leave message, you still, and they don't write in it, you just put down leave message onto their note? I think Carlos didn't want anything read there.
I asked Carlos, I said, what do you want for your sponsor read? And he posted that. So that became his sponsor read.
I think he's good with it.
Yeah.
Remember, go subscribe to 3 Wide TV after Vince and Carlos didn't make the race, but he's got Nick and Delicato. He's in the top 15. It's in the 3 Wide TV car, sponsored.
You just would make a horrible cake designer.
I took out any of the 4-letter words.
On the top of the cake, it says nothing, and it's literally written nothing.
Hey, if you gave me a cake design and it said put something nice, you would get back a cake with something nice on top, yes.
Well, back to the racing here, because it is getting very, very spicy out here. It looks like now Fody able to get around Gavel here, as now here comes the 36 trying to make up some spots here.
He's trying to wreck it off of 4.
Oh boy, yeah, Gavel got loose. That really helped out the 36 getting around him and some lap cars at the same time. So this is looking very good for Garrison Hogan here.
Garrison Hogan last time by 33.5. Tyler Fody 33.6. Ethan Burrell 33.8. I don't think that's enough. 2/10 a lap, 17 laps to go. I think they're not going to quite be there. Scott Crump's going to be the one closest, and Scott was 33.7 last time. He's making up a 10th a lap. He has the least amount of distance to get. Burrell's in a decent spot here if he can keep the tires on this 37 car. I think we've underestimated the potential that Ethan Burrell can pull this thing off.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, these drivers up here in the front, one thing that you got to remember, they're able to run their low lane, and we saw earlier on, new tires can be burned off very quickly trying to run high lane, making the zigzaggy moves to be able to get around people, and we saw it even out fairly quickly there. So these drivers that pitted early have just been focusing running on their line, like an Ethan Burrell, maybe like a Scott Crump, are able to go about getting these tires last a little bit. But you see Ethan Burrell now jump up to that high lane. I think maybe he's looking more at lap times than he is what's going on the racetrack, and maybe trying to work around where he needs to be on lap time.
Scott Crump just ran a 33.7. That's pretty impressive for this late in the run for Crump. Burrell was 34 flat that time. So Crump's starting to eat into Burrell's lead. The big question has been, can Ethan keep the tires on that 37 car long enough to hold them off? It's unlikely. He's got 14 laps to go. That's a lot of time here at Homestead Miami Speedway. But Ethan's a really, really good driver. He's really strong in this car. I think he's got a chance, and he's at least got a really good shot at a podium at this point. What a really good strategy call for Ethan Burrell and his 37 bunch. Trying to get do-good up there in the podium. Obviously, Jeff Green got taken out early. Michael Goodman taken out early. Dusty Dewar not in the race tonight. And Burrell's done a fantastic job for this group, and very applause-worthy, even if he doesn't pull this thing off here. As you see him right there, Scott Crump's starting to stalk down our race leader.
I can see this getting down to 5 laps to go, and we have 4 drivers racing this thing out for the win here. Garrison Hogan has caught back to the back of Fody, but has not been able to do anything. He got into the wake of him, and it slowed him down just a little bit. I mean, they both are still catching the leader, but he is, I think Fody's picked it up a little bit here as well. Yeah. So I can definitely see it getting down to about 5 or 6 laps to go, and we'll have 4 drivers battling it out here.
Vincent looks like he caught a piece of the wall at some point there, so 3 car not going to have the result he might have deserved tonight.
Still pretty paint scheme though.
Oh yeah, that's going to be one of the best ones all season.
Well, right now, it's Ethan Burrell with a 1.25 second lead. Oh, Vincent Isabella got the wall again, it looked like. Gets out of the way of Scott Crump, so Scott Crump's going to have some clear track in front of him to be able to go after him. Vincent, I think, may have some steering damage here, so he's going to look to try to just finish this thing out.
Yeah, Vincent's got to get down pit road here, at least keep her on the apron. Tough break for Vincent.
Garrison's right there. Garrison's right onto the back bumper of Fody.
Wow, they've never been. They haven't been doing that all race or anything.
Yeah, Fody hasn't caught off the nose of the 36 at any point, has it?
I think Garrison's going to get Fody right here, and Fody's going to battle him, and this could be enough for Scott to get Ethan, and then, you know, if Fody can even hold Garrison for a corner here, that might be enough.
Yeah, he's running that high lane. He's going to have the momentum up there. If he can hold him off, it's going to be down the back straightaway. It'll be side by side still. He is able to.
That is massive for Scott Crump that Tyler Fody was able to hold Garrison Hogan back even for just the one corner.
He's going to have to do it for a couple laps. He's got to do it for a couple laps.
I'm not so sure.
I don't know. Garrison Hogan.
Hogan's got him cleared.
Oh boy, this is big. Fody right on the back bumper. He's going to look underneath. Side by side still. Fody's going to try to throw it in there. Is he going to be able to clear him?
This is what you were talking about, right, Gerald? Is now Garrison Hogan, instead of running his line, he's got to battle with Tyler Fody, and he's not able to make up the ground on Scott Crump, who's just running his lane, trying to catch up to Ethan Burrell. Or so, all this battling, it's forcing Garrison Hogan to use the tires, be a lot more urgent, but he's going to clear Tyler Fody right there. Big move for Garrison Hogan.
Yeah, jumped right in front of him. I do think that this is Garrison Hogan's race right now. He is catching him a lot just in the last few laps. Even though he was battling there, he's caught them a lot. And you gotta wonder what could have been for Matthew Weeks. Now 8 seconds back from the lead with a 0% shot at winning this race right now. And gotta wonder if he could have been able to keep up with Garrison Hogan on the charge like he has had. But it's going to be close here still to the end, but I think right now it's Garrison Hogan's race to win.
Yeah, Hogan is just a little bit faster than both Crump and Fody, and Crump's car has actually gone away a good bit. That he has not been able to catch Burrell nearly as quickly as he had been the previous several laps. So now Scott Crump becomes Ethan Burrell's best friend. But Garrison Hogan's car just looks really, really strong right now. It seems like it's going to be really tough for these guys to hold him off. He's got the tire advantage, and he's got the track position now. It's kind of just a matter of time, but we don't have that much time. There's only 7 laps to go.
Yeah, it is starting to close down very quickly here. Scott Crump still trying to get this high lane going for himself. Garrison Hogan's looking very strong on that bottom lane, able to clear himself, and now only one car stands in the way for Garrison Hogan to be able to lock himself into the chase and be able to get a win here at Homestead, and that is his former teammate there of Ethan Burrell. The Do Good car right in front of him, driving a Chevy this year, doing a really good job for Do Good, but he's got a very fast car behind him with only 5 laps left to go in this event. 6 laps left to go in this event.
If Ethan wishes it was 5, and I don't even then think he's got enough time to hold him off.
Yeah, Fody able to get around Scott Crump there. That will put Fody in that 3rd position. Scott Crump now drops back down to 4th. I think these will be our final 4 if this race ends under green. The final 4 drivers are far enough ahead. I don't think anyone's going to be competing against them.
Ethan Burrell, if he's got anything left in the tank, now is the time.
I don't think he had any. I think he's used all he can, and to be his advocate here, for him to even be leading at this point is very impressive for Ethan Burrell. With how early he came down pit road, if he loses the lead, it is not due to anything he did on track here and the final laps. He had left everything on the racetrack here, but I just don't think there's anything he can do against that 36 car.
See right here, 4 laps to go, and let's see what Burrell does. I mean, you can defend on the top. He could pinch Garrison down. Let's see what he does.
Going
Garrison
down
throws it in.
1. He kind of pushes him up a little bit, and it's all over there. Garrison Hogan made quick work. Did not go down to the bottom. Ethan Burrell had to check up just a little bit, and that's going to put the 36 car out front here with 4 laps to go. Now the battle is going to be for second here as Tyler Fody has quickly started catching back to the Ethan Burrell machine.
How about Ethan Burrell? Been able to put the tires, keep the tires in the car better even than Scott Crump. has in that 90 car. So, very impressive work by Ethan Burrell. It's not going to work out for him tonight, but still a masterful job by our pole sitter, and going to come up just a couple of spots short. I think Fody will end up getting him here before the end of this one as well.
What a massive green flag run we've had here in the Cup Series.
Absolutely.
We kind of had a caution fest there at Daytona at the end of it with a win on the line and everyone seeing the checkered at Daytona. They all raced really hard, and it kind of cost us a good green flag finish. But we've seen it here today, folks. We saw a lot of comers and goers, and you would think if you look onto the board, see how long of a green flag run we'd had, you'd think there'd be one driver that just went off and won this thing and left everyone in the dust, and that has not been the case. We've saw about 4 or 5 different people leading at one point in time on this green flag run, and that just goes to show you how wonderful of a race this has proven to be with 2 laps left. Oh my gosh, the whole one there got sideways. He's just hoping to finish in the top 10 at this point. Brian Gable.
Dave has the script. He put it on Gable just as we were coming off of 2, and thought Gable might be providing us with the caution to ruin Gerald's beautiful speech there. But white flag for Garrison Hogan. Tyler Fody has actually turned the wick up significantly, but he's going to run out of laps.
Yeah, coming out of the turn here, Garrison Hogan has had a masterful race. He kind of was running in the top 5 for the majority of the race, just kind of kept his name in the bunch here as he was able to have that long run speed, showed it here that he is the master of tire saving here at Homestead. And out of turn 4 to lock his name in to the playoffs here, and weaving down the front straightaway, we have a winner here. Garrison Hogan able to get it done here at Homestead.
Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell round out our podium. Scott Crump will finish 4th, and he did gather that halfway point. Jonathan Cutlett finishes it out in the top 5, and what a great job by these guys. Once they got to going green, they did not put a wheel wrong the rest of the race. Fantastic finish.
Fantastic race. Fantastic for everyone involved in the Elite Racing Network here for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series here, and just wonderful race for everyone. We appreciate everyone for joining us here. These drivers get around the racetrack. They're all throughout the field, still trying to get some finishes here, but looks like the final driver just went across here. What a great race for Garrison Hogan. As you see, a popular win there as everyone's giving him their bumps of congratulations to him. A lot of Pro Edge drivers able to give their congratulations to him as he's now back onto the front straightaway, given his burnout here.
I want to note that Chris Wright did finish on the lead lap. He stuck to his guns, and he got himself a lead lap finish. Last car on the lead lap was that 9.
Last car on the lead lap, 33 seconds back, but he proved a point. You can race really hard. You just don't know where you're going to finish.
Look through the rest of the running order here. Tay Lytle does finish 6th. Matthew Weeks, what could have been, comes home 7th. Just if he had pitted a lap after Garrison Hogan, I think we're talking about Matthew Weeks and at least on the podium, if not
you had yourself a really good race. You qualified on pole. You had a shot there at the end. You surprised all of us up here in the booth with that long green flag run you had there, and we counted you out for a good portion, and then it quickly switched over to, oh, Ethan Burrell has a really good shot at actually pulling this off, but then at the end there, two drivers able to get around you. One of those being Garrison Hogan, with much fresher tires. I don't think there was much you could do at that point, was there?
No, yeah, I kind of counted myself out. So I went ahead and did the short pit there at what I felt like was an okay number. I kind of got ganged up on and ended up fourth, and then I was slowly losing spots. So I thought I was saving my stuff, but apparently I wasn't. So that's why I made the call to short pit, and I was just trying to save after I came out of pits, and yeah, I was thinking maybe with like 20 to go or so, they'd catch me, and I'd probably fall right back to 7th or 8th. But I was surprised with how well it held up there. I mean, I was driving my guts out trying to hold up there, but yeah, man, it was really close. I was even surprised.
Ethan, was there anything maybe you could have done from the get-go to keep that track position, or was the old pole winning car just a short run car there?
I think what made me lose the lead in the first place was I was still running way on the bottom, and I think some guys found some speed up a lane. I don't know. I mean, I thought I was saving. I think I was getting back in the gas a little bit too aggressively on the exits, and I definitely cooked my left rear tire when I first fell out of the top group. So maybe just if I would have managed my stuff better on that first run and held the track position, I wouldn't have had to make such a bold strategy call, and would have been one of those guys chasing down and fighting for the win there.
Well, you're my co-host for the Simply Racing podcast, and we've got a lot to look back over for tomorrow for everyone that tunes in for our podcast there. We want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs, and maybe just at the end give a little shout out to what to expect for the Simply Racing podcast that we're going to be doing tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page.
Yeah, shout out to Betty, first of all. She's always watching and cheering me on, and me and all the Pro Edge guys, and now she gets to cheer on the Do Good guys too. So she always has a good time watching these. My wife Rachel sitting behind me doing her schoolwork while I race, so works out good. Yeah, all the guys that Do Good, Goody, Doer, Jeff Green, a couple of them had a rough night. Dusty had to bail out last second for some family stuff, but all in all, it's a good night for me. And shout out to Race EPI for Setup Shop for sponsoring the car, and yeah, the podcast. It's gonna be a good one tomorrow at 8 Eastern, like Gerald said. We run Matthew Weeks through the ringer at Nürburgring, so that's gonna be fun. And hey, I know I'm already leading the points on our picks, Gerald, and I'm pretty sure I picked Garrison Hogan this week.
Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, you did, didn't you? Wow.
I promise I didn't let him win the race.
You know what's funny, though, is you get to pick last for Coda, so good luck picking not Ethan Stanley and not R.C. Anderson.
Yeah, or I won't even get to pick Tucker.
Probably not Tucker either. You're probably not going to pick me.
Man,
you're gonna have to make a guess.
I'm gonna have to crunch the numbers before we make the pick there.
Good luck picking not the race winner, I'm sure.
Thanks,
guys. That was Ethan Burrell, our third place finisher, coming home with a really good, strong run, better than what he predicted, and probably better what most of us predicted there when he came back down pit road. But we're gonna go ahead and bring up our driver here, Tyler Fody, and give it over to David here.
Tyler, it's David in the booth. P2 in this one, man. You were that close. Is there anything you could have done there on that last run to hang with Garrison Hogan? Looked like you gave him a run for his money with a couple of laps to go, but just falling a little bit short there.
Yeah, not much more. We were just talking about it. We were both cooked. It was pretty on edge the whole time, and it was just a matter of who pit later. So yeah, I did all I could there. Held him up for a couple laps, but I was kind of banking on some more people holding him up on the way through. and maybe him battling with Burrell a little harder could have made it a little different. But yeah, just didn't have the tires there in the end.
Well, good finish overall. Still second place. Still gets you some strong points your way, and overall a finish that you'll look back on. I mean, for the beginning run, it looked like it was all Lake Norman up at the front there. Were you guys mostly focused on short run speed? Because you guys at the beginning part of the race and the beginning of part of green flag runs, it's definitely all you guys. But then at the long run, some of your teammates there maybe didn't have the strongest long run speed. What was the chat like in your guys' group as far as how you guys were handling these runs?
Yeah, it was pretty funny because I was always set on just working out the long run, and Scott was also. Gavel gave it an effort for like 3 laps and then was like, "Screw this! I'm just gonna go as hard as I can and hope for some yellows." And Ethan, I think, was just trying to make up from the qualifying, starting so far back. He was kind of on the back foot most of the night, but it worked out where for a little bit there, Gavel was leading us all, and Scott and I were kind of just saving behind him, and he got that first yellow pretty well timed. But yeah, I mean, between Gavel and us, it was always going to be needing a short run. I think if we had about 20, 30 lap runs with yellows throughout the race, we would have all basically maintained those top 3-4 positions. But now with the long runs, it was Scott and I that were kind of banking on that. So
Yeah, I guess my final question here for you, Fody, is you got passed there on the long run by Weeks and Hogan. Any concern going forward that those guys have a little something on the tire saving, or you guys gonna take it back to them next time we got a tire saving type of green flag 1.5-mile race?
No, well, let me just say this first: Garrison and Weeks are definitely, I mean, easily the top guys in the series, in the league, wherever they are. So they're always going to be ones to watch. For me specifically in this run, I was doing my best to just try and stay in front of everybody, while Scott and Ryan were out in front. So I was using my stuff up a little bit more, I would say, than those guys. So it definitely was part of why that all played out. But I mean, Garrison and Weeks, when you got those guys and everyone else that's in this top 10 week in and week out, they're going to be top notch. So they know what they're doing.
Well, go ahead and give us our thank yous and shout outs for your Lake Norman team there, and give us a rundown who helps you get to the racetrack here.
Yeah, I mean, all the guys had a good showing, really. I think the speed was all there. Scott was able to get a top 5 there. Ethan and Gavel, obviously, speed was there. Results maybe don't show it today, but always fun to run with those guys. Look forward to it the rest of the year. And shout out to John Cutlip and JD Designs for doing all of our paint schemes in every single series this season. That was really cool. And yeah, shout out to you guys and Belly Up for coming on board and making this season what it is.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Fody, and congratulations on the second. I'm pretty sure we'll still see you in here with some first places in your name before it's all said too long from now. But overall, good finish, and hopefully you haven't lost your talent of winning these things.
I hope so.
That's Tyler Fody, our defending champion of the Belly Up Sports Cup Series here, and our second place finish tonight. We're going to go ahead and see if we can bring up our winner here of Garrison Hogan.
I got him.
Perfect. Yeah, Garrison Hogan, you got it done, man. It was looking good from the start of the race here. You were just kind of keeping your name in tow here and just being in the top 5, and it all kind of played out for you. That long green flag run, you had the overwhelming speed, and then the pit stop, you timed it perfectly to where you could still be able to make your way up through the field and be able to have a chance to go after that win. Overall, did it play out exactly like you thought, or maybe it went a little bit better than maybe you thought it went?
It played out about how I thought it would. The only thing is I didn't have to deal with the 11 car on the last run. But other than that, yeah, it was about staying at the front and just kind of maintaining. I wasn't trying to burn my stuff off and go too crazy, and just honestly try to stay within range. And I knew what kind of speed I had. I did plenty of laps in practice, even though I only got in the session for 20 minutes. So Homestead is normally a good track for me. So typically I can kind of pace myself and figure out what it is that I need to make it pretty much on the edge every lap.
Garrison, talk us through the decision to come down pit road when you did, because with the final tally there of like half a second win, if you had stayed out even another lap, that might have been too much. So, what went into your decision to come down the very lap that you did there?
Just paying attention to when people pit and who kind of was in range. It was pretty much Crump and Fody and Weeks, right? So when me and Weeks stayed out a little bit longer, I kind of had to play cat and mouse with him just because you don't want to give anybody an overcut, So going to look at when Fody pit was the biggest thing, and knowing that about 30 laps is the last bit of time that you kind of have to catch the leader, if that makes sense. So knowing that I pit around 30 to go and knew I had a shot, but almost didn't get there still with the traffic because I was kind of plowing coming out of pit road there just because of low fuel, but I got there just in time.
Absolutely, that you did. You're able to get the win, lock yourself into the playoffs here, get your name back into there at a shot going for a championship. Give us real quickly your thoughts for the rest of the season, and then give us your thank yous and shout outs here for the end of the night.
Yeah, the rest of the season is just going to be me continuing to try to just run up front. Usually a lot of people don't really notice me, or, I'm always coming from like 30 something on the grid just because for fun. But I definitely have the capability of running top 5 and being up front the entire time, leading laps and contending for wins. So I'm just going to continue that trend and do the same for everything else I do on iRacing. It's kind of time for a change, but this wouldn't be possible without Kicking the Tires coming on board. Because of them, I'm running Elite again. I kind of said I wasn't going to run after last year, but they got me back into it by coming on board with the sponsorship for this year. So I'd like to thank them and all my friends that Fueled Up and Pro Edge, and Chad Frankenfield for putting on the league, you guys, Belly Up Sports, for sponsoring the league. And yeah, hopefully we can continue a trend of more wins here during the season. But I don't know. If it's a road course, don't look for me to win there.
All right, so don't pick your name for next week then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, good job on getting the win, getting yourself locked up, getting it done early this season, getting it done on the second race, ending off the Florida run here with a victory. So good job for being able to get it done, and for your sponsorship as well. So overall, congratulations, and I'm pretty sure, like you said, we'll be seeing more of you up at the front.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, fellas.
That's Garrison Hogan, our winner here tonight. Well, that wraps up everything here from Homestead, as we will have some more fun tomorrow on the podcast, the Simply Racing Show podcast, where we review the wrecks, put some more blame on people, maybe showcase some more of the talent, maybe, or the less talent if you consider it, and we'll have some more fun on the podcast side of things. You can find that at the Belly Up Sports' YouTube page, so tune in over to there tomorrow at 8 Eastern as we go over that. But over here on the Elite Racing Network, I gotta say, David, it was a really good Homestead race for us.
Yep, it's about what you expect from Homestead if it doesn't, get a late caution and devolve into one of those crazy, 2016 style races. But overall, very happy with the overall performance tonight by the guys, and yeah, Garrison Hogan locks in along with Matthew Weeks. Fody called him and said, hey, those are the guys to watch. Those are the two guys locked into the playoffs. So tend to believe Tyler Fody when he starts talking about stuff like that. And yeah, I think we've maybe got our 2 championship favorites, and we know who else is going to be in play for sure. So, it's not a long season, only a couple of weeks, and we'll be starting to think about who's going to be getting into the playoffs and who's going to be challenging for the championship.
Absolutely, you're not going to want to miss anything. We're going to be off for next week, But the following week, we will be back at COTA. So in 2 weeks from now, we will be racing at COTA. You're not going to want to miss things there because we're going to probably have some new drivers that we're going to be talking about. We're going to see who has the road course ability to be able to get it done here. Maybe get a different driver locking in their name. Maybe a third different winner here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. But from everyone, we thank Dave Huckleberry for always and continuing to put on these amazing broadcasts. We appreciate everyone tuning in to the Elite Racing Network. Thank you to David Westergreen for joining me tonight, and we appreciate everyone. And we hope to see you in 2 weeks at COTA. And have yourself a wonderful night, and stay happy.